All right, we have some major breaking news. Trump just got off the phone with Vladimir Putin and he got rolled once again. Throughout Trump's entire presidency thus far, it's been over 100 days, he has allowed Putin to gain more land, gain more territory, take more homes, kill more civilians and children. Even overnight, Putin sent hundreds of drones into Ukraine and killed a bunch of civilians. I mean, genuinely, read this. Russia launches war's largest drone attack ahead of Putin-Trump call. He launched 273 drones targeting Ukraine. 273 drones. One woman was killed, a 4-year-old child was injured, and Trump has the goal to say he believes this call went very well. I'm sorry, but Trump, you are a weak little toothless bitch if you're going to call Vladimir Putin and not yell at him for being a murderous dictator. Please remember, 2 or 3 months ago, Trump made both sides, quote unquote, both sides lay down their arms, meaning Ukraine participated in a ceasefire negotiated by the United States. Ukraine put down their arms. They don't have an interest in taking territory of Russia, only the territory that Russia took from them. Russia did not lay down their arms. Putin is a bad faith actor who rolls and destroys and trolls and tricks Donald Trump over and over, and these aren't just buzzwords. Trump literally falls for it every time. He said, "Just completed my 2-hour call with Russian President Vladimir Putin. I believe it went very well." Spoiler alert, it didn't. Russia and Ukraine will immediately start negotiations toward a ceasefire and, more importantly, an end to the war. The conditions for that will be negotiated between the two parties, as it can only be because they know the details of a negotiation that nobody else would be aware of. What is this guy talking about? This dude doesn't know anything about the negotiation between Russia and Ukraine, and he showed that over and over. He's played his hand. When Trump says that if Putin doesn't concede or stop the war, the U.S. is just going to back off and stop giving any support to Ukraine, that is exactly what Putin wants. Trump keeps saying this line, along with J.D. Vance. They keep saying this line over and over. If the war doesn't end soon, the U.S. is going to withdraw. It's not our war. We don't care. What Vladimir Putin hears is that if Vladimir Putin just allows it to go a little bit longer, if Vladimir can just squeeze out the war a little bit longer, the U.S. will give up on intelligence and weapon sharing. Trump is flagging his weakness. He's showing his weakness before it even happens, before the negotiation happens, which is insane. Trump has also conceded multiple things by saying Ukraine won't join NATO, the U.S. won't really help Ukraine, if this, if that. Trump keeps on ceding leverage to Vladimir Putin. He then says, "The tone and the spirit of the conversation were excellent." What? If it wasn't, I would say so now rather than later. Dude, Russia wants to do large-scale trade with the United States when this catastrophic bloodbath is over, and I agree. Okay, so Vladimir Putin knows what Trump cares about. Vladimir Putin had a positive tone and distracted Trump about trade, and Trump didn't even think about the war. Because here's the thing. Vladimir Putin is a clever dude. Of course, he's a murderous dictator, but Vladimir Putin is a clever-ass guy who is trained in the art of manipulation when Trump is trained in the art of folding and farting and eating McDonald's or whatever the hell. He says, if it wasn't, I would say so now rather than later. Yeah, I totally trust you, Trump. You would never lie in a Truth Social post. Russia wants to do large-scale trade. Again, that is Putin taking advantage of Trump's weakness, which is talking about trade. Once this catastrophic bloodbath is over. Dude, who's causing the bloodbath? Sorry, I'm losing my mind. I don't mean to be so sarcastic when I'm commentating over this, but who is causing the bloodbath? Russia launches war's largest drone attack ahead of Putin-Trump call, and then Trump has the goal to say Putin wants to end the bloodbath and trade more. Dude, come on. By the way, if you've made it this far in the video, I would appreciate if you drop a like and subscribe to help boost this message. He then says, there is a tremendous opportunity for Russia to create massive amounts of jobs and wealth. Its potential is unlimited. Likewise, Ukraine can be a great beneficiary on trade in the process of rebuilding its country. Negotiations between Russia and Ukraine will begin immediately. He says, I have so informed President Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine. He says, the President of the European Commission. He says, Macron of France, Meloni of Italy, Merz of Germany, during a call with me immediately after the call with President Putin. The Vatican, represented by the Pope, has stated that it would be interesting in hosting negotiations. He's trying to make this a big show, but Have you ever had a group chat with all of your friends, a group chat with a big friend group, and then there's a second group chat, a real group chat that is much smaller where all of your friends talk, not talk shit, but all of your friends have the real conversations, the unfiltered conversations. That is what is happening here, I believe. You know, Trump claims he hopped on a really good call with Zelensky and Germany and France and Finland, all of these countries that have a vested interest in stopping Russia. But I can almost guarantee all of these countries then had a second phone call, a second group chat, you know, where Zelensky and France and Macron, all these people, they're all chatting without Trump and chatting about how Trump is kind of a bumbling idiot. And can I just talk about this for one more second? Russia launched on Sunday its largest drone attack on Ukraine since the start of the war, destroying homes and killing at least one woman a day before Trump is due to discuss a proposed ceasefire with Russia's President Vladimir Putin. Ukraine's intelligence service said it also believed Moscow intended to fire an intercontinental ballistic missile later on Sunday as an attempt to intimidate the West. The scary part is, we know that Trump doesn't even do his intelligence briefings on a day-to-day basis. I'm not even sure Trump is aware of this. He hasn't commented on this. But imagine, please just imagine, you're Ukrainian and Russia is shelling your country over and over and over and trying to ethnically cleanse you and push you out and kill civilians over and over. And you just want your own territory back. You're just a Ukrainian citizen, right? And Trump says in a post, Russia really wants to do trade. They just really want to end this bloodbath first. Russia does not want to end the bloodbath. That framing needs to be rejected wholeheartedly by everybody. Everybody. I mean, Mike Pence will reject that framing. Everybody on the left should reject that framing. But there's this weird sect of MAGA people on the far right. And sometimes I've even talked to really far left people who think that Russia is the good guy. So there's a lot of radical people that think that Russia is not the aggressor, mainly the Republican Party right now. Like a lot of mainstream Republicans are pushing this narrative that Russia is not the aggressor or that both sides are equally as bad. And I find that to be disgusting. I also find it disgusting that Trump is trying to host these negotiations in the most performative way possible. For example, when Trump was at Pope Francis's funeral, he made sure to do a photo op with Zelensky. I actually want to take a nuanced position here. I think Trump does have a vested interest in this war ending. A lot of people in my comment section seem to think that Trump is being paid off by Putin to keep the war going. I think Trump wants it to end, not because he cares about citizens, not because he's pro-Ukraine, not because he cares about death, but for image. Trump cares about PR. He cares about imagery. He cares about being the peacetime president. He would love nothing more than to be the quote-unquote peacetime president. He never will be because he's too much of an idiot. But the thing is, he's being tricked by Putin every single time they talk. Putin makes promises and flatters him. Trump is so easily flattered by powerful people that he just sits there and giggles and kicks his feet while Putin takes advantage of the fact that he's a malignant narcissist. Vlad Vexler, shout out to Vlad Vexler, an amazing, amazing YouTuber, always says that Trump is such a narcissist. He looks up to powerful people and they give him a narcissistic supply, a source of narcissistic supply to feel good about himself, to validate himself, because that's all that he wants, and that's what Putin gives him. Putin very intentionally does that. Trump doesn't know what's going on. He thinks that Putin just can't help but keep bombing Ukraine, and I'm going to leave it at that. If you appreciate what I do, make sure you drop a like, scroll down and subscribe. See you all in the next one. Peace out.